Shalom, brothers and sisters. Always good to be before you. I am sharing a little bit more on truth. Can we know the truth? And so we're going to go ahead and get started. Now, looking at that backdrop right there. Truth, all the way through, right? Truth. Then the few scrabbled letters that are, put in there. And then you see truth. And it just goes, it just keeps going on and on and on. And then you see truth again. Truth. And then there's that little bitty, what is that? I see something there. What is that? Well, that right there says lie. And so often in our conversations and our dealings with people, they're talking and then all of a sudden it'll seem like they're telling the truth and then they'll say something like, huh? What was that? Well, everything else seems credible. It could have happened. I'm not going to judge them. It probably did happen and we accept it. And then maybe later on we find out that, no, it wasn't the truth. So we have got to know truth and we have got to seek Father if it sounds like something is not truth. Okay? Because remember, no matter how much someone has always told us the truth, if they say something that sounds like it might not be truth, don't rely on their past experience of always telling you the truth, because we have an enemy. And so we have to go by what we feel that Father's Ruach Roho is telling us and go with that. Okay? So, Baruch are all those who revere Yahuwah and walk in his ways, Tehillim or Psalms 128 verse 1. Now when we look at this again, we can see the red boxes that outline the word lie, and those letters are a little bit bigger. Those are for people who have eyes to see, and they can see it, and it's big, and there's a red flag, and they're paying attention to that. They're very attentive, and they're not being deceived. Okay? So that's how we want to be. So what is truth? Yahushua was asked that just before he was assassinated. Or as we know, they think they assassinated him, but he laid down his life for us. Well, truth is whatever agrees with what Yahushua and his Father have said. That's truth. Yahushua said that I am the truth. In fact, he said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. I remember Father sharing with me some time ago that to love truth, even if it's about you. And when he told me that, I was like, wow, okay, that is so true. I cannot be selective in what I want to accept as truth. If he brings something to me that's about me that's truth, I can't start making excuses and justify it. I have to say, Father, you're right. Because why? Because he's always right. And he knows me better than I know myself. Tehillim 139, Psalms 139 tells it all about it. How much he knows me. Jeremiah 17 says how our heart is so deceitful and desperately wicked. Who can know it? We don't even know our own hearts. So if he tells me something about myself, I have to receive it and then do something about it. So we're talking about knowing truth so that we don't be deceived. In John 8 and 4, truth will make us free, is what Yahushua told the people. Truth will make us free. Right? It keeps us from accepting lies that cause us to look through a glass darkly, causes us to sin and then be alienated from our Father. Psalms 119, 165 says, great peace have those who love your law and nothing shall offend them. So we want to be there. It's a key. It's the key to our protection from deception when we love his law, when we study it. He told Joshua in Joshua 1 to meditate on it. Different times throughout the word, he told people that. Psalms 1, Tehillim 1 talks about meditating on his word. We've got to know the word. That is according to Psalms 91, our shield and our armor is his truth. Brothers and sisters, we've got to become good at recognizing peddlers of deception, those wolves in sheep clothing. We have to. And we cannot let people convince us to do something, no matter how they're justifying and reasoning anything against Yah. That is what happened with the first man and first woman, Adam and Eve. They allowed themselves to be connived into believing awful things about the Father, that he was trying to keep good from them. And we know that's not true. He always wants good for us. I listened to a story the other night and it made me sick in my spirit for a while, but I'm kind of glad I heard it because I can use it today. It was in a foreign land. There had been unrest in a village, and so people were scattered, and a brother and a sister ended up escaping together. And a man took them in and finished raising them. Well, the brother, when they got up in age, convinced the sister that they should marry, because he went back to their village to try to find his family. No one, this is years and years later, no one knew them and couldn't put two and two together. So he didn't know his family had fled and never came back, or if they were killed. So he convinced the sister they should marry each other to keep their bloodline, okay? Because they had no other family left. And he didn't want another bloodline to come in and split up their family. Okay, talk about crazy. Whose voice was he listening to? The sister didn't want to at first, but he was persistent. And she finally gave into it. And she said, this is going to seem very odd to get married with this man who was racist. He knows we're brother and sister. So they decided to move to another village. And they did, and they married. But as it was shown, as the story was going on and the documentary was going on, and they would show her, I really wasn't convinced that she was really happy about it. At that time, they had been married about 10 years when the documentary was made, and they had 4 children. They said they all were healthy. They did look healthy. I didn't see any forms of any type of physical defects or anything along that line. I don't know cognitively, but they seem, looking at them, to be normal children. But look at that deception. But I don't think she really was completely free in that decision. They said, the narrator said that they were glad that they had done what they did. Now, the man who raised them evidently found what village they moved to, so he started telling people. So there was rumor in the village that they were brothers and sisters, but they never let on that they were. But that is deception. Made me very sick to my spirit. Very, very sick. But anyways, okay. So in Matthew 6, verse 22 through and 23, the light of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye be single, your whole body shall be full of light. But if your eye be evil, your whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in you be darkness, how great is that darkness? So that's saying, if there's a little bit, a little leaven leavens the whole lump, right? If there's a little bit of darkness in you, how deep will you go with sin? How far can the enemy drag you in, not you, us, into stuff? And then when he's done his damage and he flees, and we wake up and look at ourselves, we'll be surprised that we've found ourselves in the muck and the mire and shame. How great is that darkness? Having that darkness is a door for the evil one to bring deception to us, because he'll start teaching us how to reason and figure out, show us why this is okay and justifying. And so we don't want that. And another thing is, if we have our treasures on this earth, that's another reason that we could be candidates of deception, because we want to find ways to keep what we have, how to make things better, how to get more. And so deception will come in. How to get what's not ours, all of that. So that to me is cousin to having a love for money. It's not money, it's the love of money. That is the root of all evil. So Matthew 6:9, lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust does corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven of the Shamayim, where neither moth nor rust does corrupt, where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. So we've got to do daily heart searching. It has to be constantly done. Remember in the Generational Curse audio, we talked about how our Father does a closet cleaning, sometimes daily. He's like, oh, this has got to go. You can't keep this. But he's doing it, and we should be grateful when he brings things to us so we can get it straight. And we also talked in that audio about being like David and praying, seeking Yah for deliverance and cleansing in Tehillim 51. Deception is heavily used through media, which that word media in itself is an interesting choice of word. But it has been the perfect device that the Prince of the Air knew would sweep hundreds of thousands of people into the throngs of hell. In Matthew 24, Yahushua warned us to expect to see more and more false anointings and false prophets. And it reads, "For there shall arise false anointings and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they should deceive the very elect. Behold, I've told you before. Wherefore, if they shall say to you, Behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not." Okay? Remember, his truth is our shield and our armor. Okay? When things are happening, ask him. If you don't have an immediate, tugging at your shirt tail, then ask him. But I'll tell you what, one side, if there ever starts, if anything happens and we're like, go with that, and do some research, okay? Go to him, ask him for help. I shared with you on part 1 of this truth. I don't want to call it a series, but anyways, it looks like it's a series. How I recently met some ladies hoping that I would have an opportunity to gain additional spiritual family members, but it didn't turn out that way. They were not as excited as I was. Oh my goodness, and it was all because I didn't display my fringes. They told me that I should be wearing the fringes on the outside of my garments. That they need to be seen because they're supposed to remind me to keep the commandments. But it seemed to me that it was more about letting other people know who I was, because that's what they kept saying. There's other people in the store who are wearing fringes too that are part of us, and that's how we see. There's some down, they pointed down the aisle, and that's how we know who they are, because of the fringes. Yeah, that's not really how they knew who they were. I think they all were there shopping together. But either way, that's whole nother story. But it's either, or maybe it's both. I'll give it to them. It's both. It's one way of knowing who are like them, and also it's for the person to be able to remember, to have them, to remind them to keep the commandments. So they repeated Numbers 15:38 a few times. You need to read Numbers 15:38. And I told them, I know of that verse, but I didn't receive as they received, that I needed to make an outward show of my fringes. So we parted ways with me thinking how odd that encounter was. Wasn't anything like I thought it was going to be. I remember them making a point that that's how they recognize, those who are true believers. Not only can they spot them in the stores, but that's how, when they see them, when they do spot them in the store or in the streets, that's what they know they're true believers. I'm like, what? No fruit? Okay. I remember Yahushua saw a fig tree that looked like it should have been producing fruit, and it didn't, and he cursed it, never to give fruit again. So I do not regret the display of judgment and lack of love that they showed to me that day, because it actually protected me from months of hardship and trauma, had they beguiled me, or had I been beguiled. Time is too short and too critical for extracurricular madness. There's enough madness and craziness already, and I didn't need extra. But it was a good lesson, I guess. Good teaching. But it reminds me of a few years ago when there had been a fire and this woman was being interviewed on the news, and she said, ain't nobody got time for that. And that's how, ain't nobody got time for extra craziness. We are striving to endure to the end. We're wanting to be included in those that can escape the things that are coming. That's what Yahushua told us to do. So, ain't nobody got time for that. 1 Samuel 16, and Yahuwah said unto Samuel. I'm so used to saying Moses unto Samuel, how long will you mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill your horn with oil and go, and I will send you to Jesse the Benjaminite, for I have provided me a king among his sons. And Yahuwah said, take a heifer with you and say, I am come to sacrifice to Elohim, and call Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show you what you will do, and you will anoint unto me him whom I name unto you. And Samuel did that which Elohim spoke, and came to Bethlehem. And he set apart Jesse and his sons, and called them to the sacrifice. And it came to pass, when they were come, that he looked on Eliab, and said, surely Yahuwah's anointed is before him. But Yahuwah said unto Samuel, look, he knew what he was thinking. Look not on his countenance, or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For Yahuwah Elohim sees not as man sees. For man looks on the outward appearance, but Yahuwah looks on the heart. And it's not about seeing fringes and saying they're one of us. They might be one of them, but are they one of Yahuwah's? 2 Corinthians 10, verse 7. Do you look on things after the outward appearance? If any man trusts to himself that he is Yahushua's, let him of himself think this again, that as he is Yahushua's, even so are we Yahushua's. Don't be looking on outward appearance thinking, oh, because they look this way or they talk this way, they're of us, or they're not of us because of this. No, you don't know that. Luke 16:15. But there is a way to know, and it'll be the fruits, right? That's why I said, what? No fruit? Anyways, Luke 16, verse 15. And he said unto them, you are they which justify yourselves before men, but Elohim knows your hearts. For that which is highly esteemed among men is abomination in the sight of Elohim. Don't let somebody tell you what is or is not indication that you are his because of outward appearance. It's deception. We are seeking his approval. James 4, verse 17. There is one lawgiver who is able to save and to destroy. Who are you that judges another? Oh, goodness. The wolf looked like a sheep was the last words of the one devoured by that wolf. He looked like a sheep. I thought he was a sheep. Consider all the email scammers who have perfected their game. Think about that. How many people have been caught up in it? Even myself, the school district. Oh my goodness, I had to take this training, I think 2 or 3 times, because there were times when things looked real in my school email, and it was a phishing thing, and so. But I learned, don't click on nothing, even if you do have a PayPal account or Amazon account. Don't be clicking on anything. Call the company, and don't call the number that's in the email, because that's all part of the scam. Remember, in the other truth message, I shared that no matter how much truth has been shared, and I just said it earlier, if that person tells me one lie, it is a lie. Do not make excuses for him or her and say, well, they usually tell me the truth. I'm surprised it's told a lie. It doesn't matter. If it's a lie, it's a lie. Don't fall into it. So, think about it. Is outward appearance the proof of set apartness? Alone? Is that the only proof that we have? This is why we can do nothing without Father's guidance. I remember in my prior years of being in religion, the meanest church ladies I have ever attended service with were those in the denomination who pride themselves to have the truth. They wore long dresses, no makeup, no jewelry, kept Sabbath or Sabbath, made every prayer meeting, they tithed, and they kept every fast. But their ways were not exemplary of love. There was jealousy, conniving, bickering, bearing false witness, which sowed discord among the brethren. Oh, goodness. These are things that Yah hates, according to Proverbs or Mishlei 6, verse 16. And the pastor and assistant pastor's wives were the ringleaders. Yes, they were the ringleaders. They looked the part, could quote and give you the word, and quote unquote were sanctified women. They talked the talk in the midst of the congregation, but undercover they were doing things. So going back to the fringes and my encounter with those ladies on the other day, I will continue to wear my fringes as commanded, and I will continue to keep mine concealed until Father shows me to make an open show of them. I remember a year or so ago, I was talking to a brother who lives in another country about them, and he said that he stopped wearing his due to someone accusing him of showing off. Wow. But what he needs to understand is that's a commandment. You know, there are other commandments than the ones that are in the 10 words. There are other ones. There's one in the I think I'm not sure. It's one of the what they call the good news. Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. One of them. But anyway, so Yahushua is saying, give, and it shall be given to you. Well, that's a command. He's not saying, well, you should give if you want. He says, give. So there are other commandments. And he said, for us to wear the fringes, so that's a commandment. We have to keep it. And when we go to Father about anything, he'll give us wisdom on how to do things. Okay? It cannot be thought that looking at the fringes is what will keep me in check to keep the commandments. That would be a sad scenario if a married person had to wear a wedding ring as a reminder that they are married so they can be faithful. Father expects our love for him to be the reason for keeping his commandments. John 14:15 says, if you love me, keep my commandments. And in so many other places. Fringes is mentioned in Deuteronomy 22:12, Numbers 15:38, Matthew 9:20, Matthew 14:34-36, and Mark 6:56. Yahushua wore fringes. Somewhere religion switched it to tzitzit, and it is translated as such in some translations. It is also taught that it has to be blue and white, yet it was not given to Moses as such. He said put a blue band through the fringes. There are too many things done in this way that are man-made, just like what I came out of. As one who desires truth, when I learned that a practice in this Torah way is man-made or not found in the scriptures, I stopped doing it. Think about it. Religion is not relationship. Religion is deception. So I'm waiting to hear from Father on how to best wear fringes under my clothing. I hope you will seek his face also on what he would have you to do. Follow him, not man. Please him, not man. Matthew 6:16. Moreover, when you fast, be not as the hypocrites of a sad countenance, for they disfigure their faces, that they may appear unto men to fast. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. But you, when you fast, anoint your head and wash your face, that you appear not unto men to fast, but unto your Father which is in secret, and that your Father which sees in secret shall reward you openly. And that's how I feel about the fringes, but I could be wrong. Numbers 15:37, I'm going to read that verse that they kept yelling at me. Well, not yelling, but throwing out at me, trying to condemn me. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Yisrael, and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations. There you go, his command. And that they put upon the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue. And it shall be unto you a fringe, that ye may look upon it and remember all the commandments of Yahuwah Elohim and do them. And that you seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which you used to go a-whoring. Don't do it after our own heart and our own eyes. That you may remember and do all my commands and be set apart unto your Elohim. I am Yahuwah your Elohim, which brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of bondage, to be your Elohim. I am Yahuwah your Elohim. So he brought them out of bondage so that he could be their Elohim. And he brought us out of bondage. So now he brought us out of bondage so that he could be our Elohim. There is none greater than him. Don't put no one before him either. Remember the prophet in 1 Kings 13 who was lied to by another prophet? He was doing everything Yah told him to do. He finished the assignment. He was headed home, did everything he was supposed to do. But another prophet came to him and lied to him. And he took the word of that prophet and went back to that man's house. And then Father used the same man who lied to him to tell him of his demise because of his disobedience. Evil communications corrupt good manners is what is written in Corinthians. So if we're around people if we choose to believe an evil communication, an evil report, anything that's opposite of what Yahuwah has told us, it will corrupt our good manners, our good behavior, our ways of righteousness. We cannot receive evil communications, anything that is opposite of the Father. So we ask, what is truth? It's a great question to ask the Father about everything. What is the truth regarding this? Help me see the truth in this. Keep me from deception. Give me a love for truth so I do not believe a lie. Keep me from delusions. John 16:13. Howbeit when he said, the Spirit, the Ruah, the Roha of truth is come, he will guide you into all truth. For he shall not speak of himself, but whatsoever he shall hear, that shall he speak. And he will show you things to come. So I'm going to put in description boxes a few verses where David is requesting Father to teach him how to keep his word. We've got to learn to keep the word. First of all, we have to know it. We have to love his right rulings, his guiding principles, his written instructions. We've got to. And with us knowing that, there's great peace there. We'll be able to recognize the counterfeit. Because remember, if you study the true, the one that is right, the original, we will be able to discern what is counterfeit. Okay, so be encouraged. What is truth? Ask the Father. He has given us a helper. He has sent back the Spirit of truth, the Ruah of truth, and he will guide us and lead us into all truth. He'll not speak of himself, but whatsoever he hears from the Father, that shall he speak, and he will show us things to come. Be encouraged, brothers and sisters. Father has promised the day will come that he'll write his laws on the fleshy tables of our heart. Let's request that. Let's request it. That we have it in us. Remember Yahushua said that the evil one was coming for him. And I think it was in Yohanan 17 when he was his last when he was last talking to his Tamayin before he was going to be arrested, and he said he's coming, but he has nothing in me. So let's put the word in us so that the enemy has nothing in us. And if he tries to deposit something in us, we will reject it. It'll just be automatic rejection. Like, this is not word. This is not life. This is not light. We can't receive this. Oh, why is my spirit so upset? Because it cannot receive a lie. Let's walk in the truth. And his truth will be our shield and our armor. Be encouraged. Walk in truth. Walk in truth. Have an eye to see. Have an eye to see. To be able to see that lie in the midst of the truth. Be able to see that wolf's tail hanging out the sheep's clothing. Okay? I love you in Yahuwah. We've got to make it, brothers and sisters. We don't want to be deceived. We don't want to be deceived. We don't want to get so far in Yahuwah, walking that straight and narrow, and then we get deceived. Oh, everyone's got to get this right here if we're going to live. Oh, this will cure you, or whatever the lie might be. We've got to hold on to him. We got to believe his word. He told his Talmudim, we're going to go over to the side. And on the way over to the other side, there was a storm that came, and they thought they were going to die. They believed the workings of that storm more than the word that Yahushua said that we're going over to the other side. And he never lied. So let's hold on to him. Hallelujah. Let's hold on to him. Be encouraged. Be encouraged. We win in Yahuwah. Hallelujah. All praises be to him. We have reason to rejoice because we love truth, and he is truth. And if we abide in him and stay in him, we got truth. Praise Yah. Praise him. Love him. He loves us. Gird our loins about with truth. Stand. Doing all we've done to stand. Still stand. Until next time, all praises be to the Most High, the Sovereign One, the Ancient of Days,